Welcome back to another episode of the Rumor Central podcast. I'm Gio, and this is the podcast where we don't talk about anything official in the movie news world, just the rumors. Today I'm reunited with Jake and Jacob from Apocalypse Movies. What's going on, guys?
Not much, talking movies, talking some rumors.
Reunited. It's been so long.
It's been like 2 weeks. This episode's rumors include Fox finally including Wolverine in its final marketing push, Justice League Part 1 having a major conflict between the Atlanteans and humans, and making an awesome cameo in Episode 8, a certain Jedi will. Did I just spoil that? No, not really.
I mean, it's rumors, so
it's a
there's
rumor,
no
so
spoiler.
yeah, you're good.
You click on the title of this video, you know what you're getting into.
Since we have a little more rumors than typical, I didn't have an opening monologue where I just ramble on about something that's really bothering me in the movie news world. So let's just get right into the rumors. So, rumor has it that Fox will include Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, in some capacity in the next and possibly final X-Men Apocalypse trailer. What do you guys think about this? We haven't really seen him in the marketing at all, which for me lends to believe that he's not going to have a big role, if cameo, if that. For the longest time, we've been under the impression that he wasn't going to be in the movie, right? Bryan Singer hasn't said anything about it. Hugh Jackman hasn't said anything about it. But taking this rumor into consideration, what do you guys think?
I think that I'm going to win $10 once that trailer drops. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Gio and I have a going bet that he says that Wolverine's not going to be in X-Men Apocalypse, and I said Wolverine is going to be in X-Men Apocalypse. And, other than the fact that Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is their most marketable, recognizable character, last year at Comic-Con, when they were doing or I don't know if it was last year. Was it last year when they were doing the panel for X-Men Apocalypse? The whole cast was out, and Bryan Singer brought Hugh Jackman out, and he said, I'm aware that you've been in every single X-Men movie since the beginning. So to me, that was saying he's at least going to have a first-class type cameo in the film. Depending on his role, they don't have to put him in the trailer, but I do think there are some casual fans out there that are on that, like, they're for sure going to go see Civil War. They're for sure going to see Batman v Superman. But, like, X-Men, even though the movies lately have been great, it's not like people aren't dying to see them like those two films. Talking about casual movie fans, like non-superhero comic book junkies. So I think seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in this trailer will get those butts in the seats. So it's a smart move by them. You can't blame them. It's a business move. I don't think, it's desperate or anything like that. I think it works. It's similar to putting Spider-Man in the Civil War trailer or potentially putting Darth Vader in a Rogue One trailer. So I'm cool with it.
What do you think about it, Jake?
I mean, it's cool. I don't think it has to happen. I mean, the first trailer was good. The second trailer was definitely a better trailer. So it's going to get fans into the seats no matter what. And, especially coming off of Days of Future Past, arguably the greatest X-Men movie ever to be made. Wolverine may grab a little bit more people, but for the most part, fans are going to go see this movie no matter what. And it may be a marketing push, or it may just be like, hey, we're gonna honor Hugh Jackman by putting him in this movie because he's been in every X-Men film since the beginning. That's probably where I lie. I mean, I think that's where they would go with it. I don't think it's, hey, we're just going to include Wolverine in it. I think it's more of the Hugh Jackman thing. Wolverine 3 is supposed to be his last movie, supposedly. So why not throw him in a little first-class cameo like Jacob had mentioned in Apocalypse? The first-class one didn't take away from the movie at all. It was one of the funnest parts of the movie. Him saying "F off" to Professor X and Magneto.
It really fit.
Wolverine
would say that.
And it just works. So something like that would definitely work in Apocalypse. And, it would just be a quick cameo, quick little shout-out to him. And I'm cool with it. But as for him being in the trailer, I don't need it because I don't think he was in the trailers for First Class. No. So I would probably rather see him not be in the trailers, but it wouldn't, affect me at all if he was. So.
Well, let me put on my Mr. Negativity hat for a little bit. I agree with what Jacob is saying for the most part. You know, you have Wolverine, you use him. He's your franchise star. Sorry, Jennifer Lawrence, but it's still Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And I agree with you as far as the cameo would be a little bit spoiled. You know, we won't get that surprise factor like we did in First Class, you know, which works so well, but it's not going to kill the movie. But is it just me, or do you guys feel like X-Men Apocalypse is kind of an afterthought when thinking about how many comic book movies are coming out this year, how everyone else is pushing their marketing as well, and it's just kind of, you're thinking more about Suicide Squad, Civil War, Batman v Superman, even Deadpool, more than X-Men Apocalypse. Like, it's not getting, and I'm not saying it's not going to be successful, but they're not getting the same hype that a Civil War or a Suicide Squad is getting. Like, do you think this is a kind of a desperate move from that point? Like, all right, we need more hype. We need more people talking about this, because right now,
I
they're
think
not really.
the public perception, yes, because I talk to my
That's what I'm
casual
talking about.
friends, my casual movie fan friends, and they ask me about Suicide Squad, they ask me about Civil War, they ask me about Rogue One, and they don't really mention X-Men Apocalypse. But I think they always plan to put Wolverine in the last trailer. I don't think they're just doing this, damn, we're not getting as much buzz. I think they always plan to do it. They always plan to have him in the movie. So no, I don't think it's like desperate or they're trying to, get more buzz. I would understand maybe, like, they had Deadpool earlier this year, so they have the best comic book movie of the year so far, and I can't, Civil War is gonna, give it, contest it, but I don't know if I see a comic book movie being better than Deadpool from my perspective, from my liking. So, Fox doesn't desperately need X-Men Apocalypse to be a huge, gigantic hit, and I still think it's going to be a hit. I think it's going to make $700 million worldwide, and be received really well. And the funny thing is it's not getting a lot of buzz, but you have Bryan Singer returning, and it has the potential to be the best comic book movie of the year.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to care whether the pre-buzz, if the movie's great, then it's going to get those repeat viewings and, all the word of mouth and get the fans in the seats. So I don't think they're worried at all.
But before I go to you, Jake, let me just say something real quick, and then we'll go to you, and then back to Jacob for a final word. There's a lot more competition this year than
True.
when Days of Future Past came out. My whole thing is, I feel like Fox has kind of been trying to push an X-Men movie without Wolverine. Do you guys get that vibe? Because, in a few years from now, he's not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean,
so the focus of this has been the new
definitely,
mutants,
yeah. But they
Fassbender.
succeeded in that before.
No, they
First
have,
Class.
but I'm just saying, like, for me, it's like that's not getting as much hype as people as Fox wanted it to. So
Definitely, yeah.
Throw in Wolverine.
I agree with that.
So
Yeah.
Jake, go ahead, and then we'll go back to you.
I mean, I don't think that you had said, is X-Men Apocalypse an afterthought? Maybe. I don't think it's an afterthought as much as we think, just because, I've said kind of from the get-go when we heard, 2016 is going to feature 6 comic book movies, 2 from all these studios, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I always thought of Apocalypse as one of the 2 guaranteed comic book movie hits of the year, that and Civil War. And the only reason it may be an afterthought is because it's kind of, in a way, more of the same. Yes, it's Apocalypse, it's their big bad, but we've seen mutants fight mutants before. We've seen, the world ending in an X-Men movie before. Like, yes, the stakes are raised this time, but we've never seen Batman and Superman take the screen. We never saw Deadpool before. We've never seen Avengers fight Avengers before. We've never seen Doctor Strange or a villain-centric comic movie. So, yes, it may be an afterthought, but that's because there's all these new types of comic movies coming out around it. But I mean, I still stick to my guns, and it's one of the 2 guaranteed hits. Now 3 with Deadpool, because Deadpool is a masterpiece. But it's going to be good. I don't think it's a desperate move for them to put him in the trailer. I just think that they're doing it to do it, and maybe what if he does have a bigger role than we thought? Like, what if it's all just been kept a surprise this whole time and he joins in the last half of the movie or something, and we don't know. But I don't think it's an afterthought as much as we think. It's just that there's so much new style of comic book movies coming around it to where it's kind of getting pushed back a little bit, but it's still going to be good. Days of Future Past was a lock. First Class was a lock. You know, Bryan Singer's is his 4th movie. Everyone he does is good, and it only gets better. So yeah.
Final word, Jacob, and does Wolverine have metal claws in this movie?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm gonna say no. But I just want to say real quick, I'm gonna be upset if what we see in the trailer is the only thing that's in the movie with him. I hope that maybe we get just one like 3 seconds of him in the trailer, and then he's in the movie for like 5 minutes, you know? So I'm totally fine with that. But just really quick, something I've been thinking about lately is like, yeah, you know, X-Men Apocalypse is not getting as much buzz, and it's weird because Apocalypse is their Thanos. He's their dark side. So this is their like life-changing, like world-ending battle, and it's not getting like, imagine when Infinity War comes out or when Justice League comes out, like we're gonna be losing our minds. I mean, I'm still super excited for X-Men Apocalypse, but maybe not as excited as I will be for Infinity War or Justice League. So it's crazy to think.
Maybe I'm dragging this on a little bit. Last word. Would you guys have rather seen the original cast? James Marsden, Famke Jensen, thank you. Halle Berry with Hugh Jackman
Fighting Apocalypse.
Them like fighting
that would have been
Apocalypse
amazing.
And then close it and then start over, right? I mean,
If I had to choose, I would want that because that's, you know, that's my childhood, that cast. So yes, but I'm still super excited for this younger cast too.
What do you think? With all due respect to this new film, like,
No, I
it might
agree.
be great,
I
but-
think that this new cast is awesome, but I wouldn't be surprised if X-Men Apocalypse is what Bryan Singer had in mind for X3.
Eventually, oh my goodness.
But because he stepped down, he wanted to do Superman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had to do Days of Future Past because he had to right all the wrongs that the universe had created since he was gone. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this is the movie he wanted to do back in 2006. I mean, it would have been awesome to see Cyclops get his due fighting Apocalypse, or, you know, and Angel was in X3. We could have seen him become Archangel.
Ben Foster.
Yeah, it's just like, so I'm excited for Apocalypse, but it would have been pretty cool to see Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, James Marsden, Famke Jensen fight with Patrick Stewart against an Apocalypse.
I hope we see some cameos from them in Wolverine 3. I
that'd
really
be
hope
awesome.
so.
That'd be awesome. Good talk, guys. So next up, next rumor. Rumor has it that Yoda will be making a cameo appearance in Star Wars Episode 8. Does this surprise you guys? Is this like, whoa, what, really? Or like, nah?
It doesn't surprise me. We talked about it a while ago back on Padawan. You know, rumors are floating around about him and Obi-Wan. He actually almost showed up in Episode 7 too. I guess Frank Oz did some stuff, but it makes sense. I mean, see Yoda back as a Force Ghost would be awesome. Maybe he's been chilling with Luke all this time. You know, him, Obi-Wan, and Yoda. You know, 3 amigos chilling on the island or something. But yeah, it's cool. I'd love to see him back. Frank Oz coming back as the voice. I just can't wait to hear that dialogue one more time. You know, talking backwards and whatnot. And who knows? Maybe he has a big factor in the whole Rey training. Him maybe training Rey a little bit, and that'd be pretty cool to see. So
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because, you know, we heard those rumors that that he did come in and record some stuff for Episode 7, and you do in that Rey.
yeah, he's in there.
The Rey vision, Force vision, you very subtly hear his voice. I just watched The Force Awakens again last night. Finally got my Blu-ray, but yeah, I think it would be awesome. It would be fitting. I'm thinking Ewan McGregor and Yoda will be Force ghosts in this film, and I think we're gonna learn a lot more about Episode 7 and Episode 8 because I was watching the film last night, and I've always said this, that the Force is guiding Rey the whole entire film from the beginning. It's guiding her throughout everything she's going through. And I think either Yoda or Obi-Wan are the ones guiding her, but instead of us seeing the Force Ghost there, like, we don't see it, but I feel like there's going to be not flashbacks, but like some type of callback to Episode 7 explaining, how Rey knew not to sell BB-8, how Rey was hitting stormtroopers with a gun when she never used a blaster before. So all those things I think will be explained in Episode 8, and how she was able to hold her own against Kylo Ren. So
You guys just made me think, like, I think it would be cool if, like, Rey was getting taught by everyone. Like, Yoda was teaching her about the Force. Luke was teaching her about Jedi lightsaber skills. Obi-Wan was teaching her about this and that. Like, just to have different teachers, that would have been cool.
and who, with all of that learning, she might become one of the most powerful beings we've ever seen.
Well,
She better.
I think
but,
that's kind of the path that she's on,
Yeah.
becoming the most powerful Jedi. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I know it was always referred to, but Luke couldn't. I mean, he could not have been the chosen one. Like, maybe it's Rey. Like, they could have been.
No,
they can always change
who
it.
knows?
I mean, yeah,
it
so-
depends. Like, I feel like she would have to be related to the Skywalkers
True,
for that.
very true, yeah.
But I know George Lucas has always said that Luke is the most powerful Jedi that ever lived.
Yeah.
And he's the creator. He's the end
the
all be all of
godfather.
canon. So
What if, like, in a contract with Disney, it says Luke is the most powerful Jedi?
I wouldn't be
period,
surprised,
and
honestly, because
you
he's
will not
so
change it?
strict with. He's like, you're not changing my special edition original trilogy. You're not changing my prequels. He's very. I'm sure he's very strict about the guidelines of that
Like,
contract.
half that
so,
contract is just what you can't change. Like,
Yeah, and I'm kind of cool with that, honestly, because he can't have any more say going forward. But whatever he decided in that contract is going to stay, which is kind of comforting because he's the creator of Star Wars.
Right.
So.
All right, let's move on to the last rumor for Justice League Part 1. Rumor has it the Atlanteans will travel to the surface and cause some havoc. According to these rumors, at some point between the Wonder Woman movie and Justice League, there's a conflict between Atlantis and the Amazonians of the Mescria?
Yeah, I've never known how to pronounce
Something
that.
like that. The Amazonians, Wonder Woman's people. Anyways, that sort of has a hand into what's going to happen in Justice League Part 1. For one reason or another, it depends which way they can go on this. The Atlanteans will attack the surface, attack Metropolis, and like I said, they can go several ways with this. They can either go from the Throne of Atlantis storyline. They could go from the, what's the other one you guys mentioned?
There's a run in the Justice League New 52 comic books, and then Justice League Wars about Darkseid, but it's Throne of Atlantis.
Well, the
or just-
animated film Throne of Atlantis.
Throne of Atlantis animated film, or just the storyline based within the Aquaman New 52 that crosses over between the Justice League New 52.
Right. And just to give a little backstory, the Throne of Atlantis is where Aquaman's half-brother, the Ocean Master, Orin, takes control of the Atlantean army after manipulating them to believing that a surface dweller killed their queen, and they invade the surface and begin just attacking Metropolis. So how do you think they'll go with this? Will they follow one storyline more than the other? Will it be an Aquaman origin? I mean, the movie's coming out later. How do they make this happen? Like, let's say Atlanteans are gonna attack Justice League Part 1.
It's tough because, I don't want to spoil Batman v Superman. It's still relatively.
Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen Batman v Superman. I mean, it's been out
Sure,
for
sure.
a
If
month.
we're gonna give the warning, spoilers ahead. I'm pretty sure we're getting Darkseid in Justice League based on stuff from
Or 2 or 1.
Part 1 because this is the
part
movie
one.
that
I think
takes
it's part 1.
because Wonder Woman's gonna be set in the past. So this is the movie that takes place right before, or chronologically before Justice League Part 1. But this is Rumor Central, so we can talk about anything. So let's put the Darkseid thing aside for a minute. I would love to see this. I think maybe they could do this in Justice League 3, because Darkseid could possibly be a 2-story arc similar to Thanos for Infinity War. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do Darkseid for Part 1 and 2, but this would be amazing to see. I think it's a great story. They didn't quite execute it that well in the animated film, but it was still enjoyable to watch, and it informed me on the story because I haven't read the comic. But I think it would be a very interesting story, and it makes sense because I'm kind of not tired, but I don't want to see aliens or robots. It would be very interesting to see super-powered being Atlanteans.
Well,
and
it's
the Justice
almost
League has to fight them.
It's almost like a civil war, not like Captain America Civil War, but a legitimately
'cause they're from
civil
Earth.
war. Yeah,
It's Earth fighting each other.
Yeah.
You know, and even though Atlanteans aren't traditional humans, their home is Earth. So it will be, in a way, a civil war. It'll just be difficult because if you have hundreds, thousands of Atlanteans fighting, the Justice League on their own cannot take on thousands of Atlanteans. So I think the Amazonians will have to come into play, and that would be pretty awesome to see, I think. So
Yeah, think about the Wonder Woman entrance to Batman v Superman. But instead of one, same theme
So it'll
song
be
plays, but like
all women
100,000 of them.
fighting a whole bunch of Atlanteans.
It's like the end of Return of the King when they all come from
Jake, let me
the
ask you
horizon.
something real quick. Does Aquaman have certain powers that the other Atlanteans don't have because of his
Yeah.
staff and stuff?
This is
Because
Dragon,
I was gonna say,
Well, the
if
Trident-
they're all as powerful as Aquaman, that's
No, the Trident,
crazy. Is it similar to the Thor's hammer, where like he
kind
only,
of, in a way,
like when you have the staff, only you can do certain things?
kind of, he's able to call upon animals
And the other Atlanteans
in the
can't.
sea. No, and he's able, like, they fight alongside him.
And he can
basically.
manipulate water too.
No, that's his wife,
Really?
Mira. Mira manipulates water.
He can't at all.
No, that's on him. He's basically Superman in water, but he can communicate with sea life. And for me, Darkseid, he's awesome. He's the big bad DC villain, but this is the story I would want to see personally. You made some great points. I mean, it's not humans fighting humans, but Earthlings fighting Earthlings, and it can get down and dirty, and there can be some incredible repercussions. And the storyline of within the Aquaman New 52 and Justice League New 52, where Orin manipulates Atlantis, and he takes over the throne, and basically turns everybody on his brother, and attacks the surface. It's cinematic, like, just stuff right there. It's pure cinematic nerdgasm, I'll say. It's some good stuff. And seeing brother fight brother, I mean, true brother, not like, Iron Man and Cap or whatever it is, but it's something I would definitely want to see. I think that, you nailed it. Justice League 1 is going to be Darkseid. I don't think they would throw all that stuff in BVS if that's not how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just hope, I'm hoping that they don't shortchange this story and make it a side plot, and it just be gone with the wind. Like, it's real quick, gone with the wind.
Well, if that's the case, if you're going all out with Darkseid for 1 and 2, save that for 3.
Well,
because then you'll get to know the Atlanteans and
like I had
Ocean
mentioned
Master.
before we started, Justice League 1 comes in. We get to know Aquaman. Then you do the Aquaman standalone. You introduce Orin as a Born Mordo type character, like they're doing with Doctor Strange, where he's kind of an ally, and we know that he's going to turn villain at some point. Then towards the end, Orin turns villain, and then they save that for the sequel or Justice League 2, and then that's the entire storyline. Because this story can be fleshed out for a 2-hour movie, and it can work so good on the screen. There's so many parts, and then throwing the Wonder Woman and her people in there would be awesome. And that fits a Justice League movie. Like, that's how big it needs to be.
Yeah.
And like you said, we wouldn't see robots, we wouldn't see aliens, and it's Earthlings fighting Earthlings, and that's something we haven't seen in a big giant movie other than the X-Men's. They do have powers and whatnot, just like Justice League, but that's my only concern, is I hope they don't shortchange it, because if it's in Justice League, that means it's going to be shortchanged, because Darkseid's going to be in that movie.
And then there would be just too much going on.
Yeah, it just
focus on Darkseid.
And that's because it's a great storyline. It's arguably one of the best Aquaman storylines, period. So maybe do it on standalone, but I think it would work so good for a Justice League movie.
For sure.
You asked, are the Atlanteans as powerful as Aquaman?
Yeah.
Not Jason Momoa. Come on, man.
Oh,
that's
that has nothing to
that's
do with it. I'm talking about the character
no.
from the comics.
Yeah,
and the...
I know what you're talking about, but it just reminded me of like Game of Thrones and how, like, all of Jason or what's his name?
Arthur Curry?
No.
Talking about the Game of Thrones
Yeah,
character.
but what's Jason Momoa's character? Drago, right?
Yeah.
Drago, yeah.
Drago. It's like all of Drago's people are badass, but they're not as badass as
hell
Drago
no.
himself.
Hell no.
You know.
Well, the thing about Aquaman is, like, Jason Momoa's playing him, and he's going to be an aggressive character, obviously, because he's got the build and whatever. But and a lot of people think Aquaman, he's this dude who talks to animals, he swims around, whatnot. The character, the New 52, did such a great job of him. He is basically Superman powers, but he has the aggressiveness and anger of Batman. Like, he unleashes hell. Like, he doesn't, and he has no remorse for people. He'll go to the end of the earth to do what he needs to.
And probably the warrior attitude of Wonder Woman as well. Yeah, and
so he's this aggressive, brutal, hardened character, and Jason Momoa is going to bring a great balance to that. And I think that if they pull from New 52, fans they're gonna really love him, because it's not a secret. The character's been a joke for a long time, and
it's going to change the perception of Aquaman. Yeah, and they got the perfect guy to do it.
And I think that if they do this whole storyline where it's him versus people, and it's ground combat basically, come on, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Last question before we wrap this up. We've seen Zack Snyder doing great things with war adaptations. Think 300. Do you guys, with this storyline, do you give him a little bit more faith to make a better movie with this one? Or I see Jake shaking his head already. Like, it's already over. It's done. Like, what do you guys think?
Like, the way you put that, sure, but I don't want him on this DC universe anymore. Nothing against him. It's any director. 2 is enough. Like, it just depends. Like, 2 in a row is enough, is what I'm saying. Like, Bryan Singer spread out his X-Men movies, but we've seen it. Sam Raimi, Christopher Nolan to a certain extent.
Joss Whedon.
They get fatigued doing these films back to back to back, and they lose creativity. And it's nothing against Zack Snyder. I love Man of Steel. I really like Batman v Superman. So I have nothing against him. In my book, he's a good director, but it's not about that. Even if this was Christopher Nolan or, name anyone, I don't want them doing back-to-back movies in a universe. Or 2 is cool, but 3, 4, 5, no.
Unless you're the Russo brothers.
I was just going to say.
Which we said.
There's 2 of them. That's the difference.
Yeah.
They can kind of work with each other, and they can do. It's not going to fatigue them as much because there's 2 of them. So.
Jake, anything else?
No, I think I agree. I don't even want to see Snyder do Justice League, but that's whatever. I think that
it's filming right now. So.
There's so many great directors out there who can pull it and give a shot. I mean, look at what James Gunn did, an indie guy who came into this giant cinematic universal movie, and I think a great choice to do an Atlantis storyline where it's ground combat based and it's this Civil War type movie. Throw David Ayer on there, man. Especially after what Suicide Squad looks like. He does a dark movie. That movie would definitely have to be dark. It's brother versus brother.
That would work. I would love to see David Ayer handle Aquaman.
Yeah, like that would be. And we don't know what James Wan's going to bring to it. I mean, he might do an incredible.
I'm actually excited about James Wan directing.
And what if Aquaman kills it and they're like, okay, we want you doing Throne of Atlantis storyline in Justice League 2.
If he kills Aquaman,
just let him continue.
Not especially kill, literally. I mean, like if he does a great job with Aquaman, put James Wan on.
Especially if Justice League 2 is based around that storyline. Let him continue the Aquaman stepping stone, I guess you could say, and so I think he'd be a great choice too.
All right. Well, for those of you still around and still listening, thank you. This has been a pretty lengthy Rumor Central podcast, but a lot of good conversations. Time is, we try to be as quick as we can, but the conversations, when they go on, we just let them go on and go on. So I want to thank my 2 buddies for joining me. Jake Berlin, let them know where they can find you.
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. Check out the Padawan podcast, our All Star Wars podcast, and apocalypsemovies.com every day.
And Jacob.
I just want to say, do you think we can get the rights to Adele's song "Rumor Has It" for this podcast? Because every time you say that, I get the song stuck in my head.
Rumor has it.
Exactly. That would be to start the podcast. That would be pretty awesome. But you can find me, Jacob Bartley, on Twitter at @JacobBartley_ on this Apocalypse Movies YouTube channel. If you like our videos, if you like our podcasts, please subscribe. Please hit that like button, comment. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and be sure to also check out the Padawan podcast, our Make and Watch It segments, movie reviews, all that good stuff, guys. And I'm your host, Gio. You can find me getting retweeted by Dwayne Johnson at GioRamos24. And thanks for talking with us, guys. We'll talk to you next time.